so for our next setup, we're going to be doing a flat lay. I'm going to be focusing on showcasing these small hydration packets laying on top of some strawberries. So I'm going to have my camera here. I'm going to rig that up on my C-stand so we can get a bird's eye view. And I'm going to stick to this pink backdrop surface because that's going to be the constant theme in this entire photo shoot. Now, I don't have a vinyl backdrop for this particular color, which I will be getting soon. I know there are a lot of different companies that sell vinyl backdrops, so I will be looking into getting an array of pink backdrops because pink has been the color this year for me and other clients. But in order to preserve my backdrop, I'm going to be using some acetate sheets. You can find these anywhere. I have my gear list linked in my description below if you want to check out the things that I use, like the little sticky putty, little acrylic cubes. I use a lot of different things to kind of hold products up together and also to preserve backdrops. So check that out. But I will be using this because I will be spraying the strawberries as well as the packets with my mixture of water and glycerin, just to kind of emphasize that hydration look and feel. That is the word of the day for this particular client. They want everything to look really wet and hydrated and cleansed. And so I will be spraying a lot of water and glycerin. So I will be using this acetate sheet to protect, like I said, my backdrop because I need this for multiple other shots. And I can't really shoot the other ones, the other concepts, until I shoot this one. So we're going to be playing around with keeping things preserved. But I'm going to go ahead and set everything up and then I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so right now I have the entire surface covered in these acetate sheets. And I have my camera up here and I'm going to go ahead and start styling the strawberries, just laying them out right in the center and then span out. I'm really only going to be using like probably this surface. I covered everything else just in case when I spray, I want to make sure that the glycerin and water don't hit the rest of the paper. Because this particular backdrop is from a company called Color Aid, and it's a really textured surface. It kind of feels like the old school like scratch and sniff type of surface. Like it's very delicate, it's very it's not scratch resistant at all, and so I'm doing my best to make sure I don't damage the surface. I really like Color Aid because of the vibrancy of the colors of the paper that they produce, but it's not waterproof or scratch resistant, so I'm doing my best to preserve that. So I'm thinking I may use one or two of these packets, but I'm just going to start dumping strawberries and then we'll see where we get with that. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that it's no longer strawberry season, so it's very hard to find pretty strawberries just for photographing, but I made sure to get at least 6 cases of these little guys, just so that I can have a variety of fruit to pick through, just so that photoshopping later and cleaning up will be a little bit easier. Okay, this particular basket has a nice good bunch, so I won't have to do as much searching as I did for the last shoot because I came across a lot of slimy strawberries, which I'm not a fan of. Okay, so we're just gonna pile them all up. Oh, nope, that one's a little bit moldy, mushy. Oh, okay, that's all for this container. Yeah, let me go ahead and grab some from the other one. I kind of want to start off with a lot and then slowly start taking things away. That's just my style. If you're more planned out, God bless you. I can only plan to a certain point and then I'm free balling it. Okay, so these are all right. Okay, so I think we have enough strawberries, so let's see what they're looking like. Let me just smush them all together. Again, I'm not keeping it like this. I just want to see what it looks like. So I'm gonna kind of have the product like laying flat, but I don't want it like sitting up. I kind of want it like tucked. So I'm probably gonna have to play around with how these strawberries are laying, just so that it can feel like a full basket of strawberries versus just a few. And so this is where the tedious part comes in when styling props or food styling. It's never as simple as people think. There's a lot of like minute details that kind of get in the way. If something isn't laying correctly, you know, you have to fix that because it does show up later in post. And I'm one of those people that when I'm styling, I like to feel like the image is complete, like it's done. Whenever earlier on in my career, whenever I felt like I did a good enough job but not the best, I just was not a fan of the final result because it didn't feel complete. And so whenever I'm styling, I'm always making sure that the image itself is going to be well balanced, and also that the props are not overtaking the product. Because again, we're not selling strawberries, we're selling this strawberry flavored hydration powder. So I want to make sure that's good. But as of right now, it's looking okay. I think I do want some of the pink surface peeking in. So I'm just going to play around with this a little bit and for a little bit longer. And then I'm going to do a couple test shots and see what it's looking like. Let me see. Let me stand up a little bit so that I can get a real bird's eye view. Okay. So yeah, I do like some of the green because some of the detailing on the package has green vine in it. So I'm liking the rotation of some of the strawberries. Let me just pop you in there. And I kind of want to do some building. I kind of want it tucked. So let me find another smaller berry to kind of prop you right in there. Let me move them together. And so once I have the final orientation the way that I like, I'm going to take a few dry shots just so that I have what I'm looking for. And I'm probably going to remove all of the surrounding acetate sheets so that I can get the solid pink surface for what it is. So later on in post, when I'm photoshopping, I don't have to get rid of all of these overlapping surfaces. So that's a real key to think about that, because in the past, that's something I did not think through, and I spent hours and hours and hours trying to get rid of the overlapping surfaces. So rule of thumb, whenever you're styling a flat lay, if it's going to be a flat surface, I would place something in the middle of a surface just to get the focus, remove that, and take a clean shot, well lit, of the surface. So when you're working with something that's going to be wet or just has juice, you can overlay acetate sheets so that you can clean up everything quickly in post. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, so as of right now, things are looking okay. I just took a test shot and everything kind of needs to move around. This needs to be facing more this way so that it's pointed up so we can see the label. And I kind of need to move around these strawberries. So I'm gonna move these things around, try to get an even balance of negative space and covered space, or positive space, as you'd like to say. And then I'll be back with the final results from this shot. Okay, so after moving all of the strawberries around, I finally came up with a combination that I liked. I went with a vertical landscape crop. And then I went with a rule of 3. And typically when I'm using a few packets, I like to have I like odd numbers. Some people like even numbers, but odd numbers always feel really good to me when I'm styling. And I always try to form like some type of zigzag or some type of shape within the scene because it's just more visually appealing. And I think there is some like technical science behind that when you get into like the golden rule, but that's always felt and looked good to me. So that's just always the way that I've styled, but I'm liking it thus far. I love it dry, and I'm going to get a couple of shots. I'm going to change up the lighting a little bit to make it a little bit more even maybe soften up some of the shadows, maybe shorten some of the shadows by bringing my light a little bit closer. And then I'm gonna go ahead and spray everything with water. And once I'm done, I'll show you the final look of this setup, and then we'll move on to the next. Okay, so I got the shot that I want. I'm gonna go ahead and reach and go ahead and use my glycerin spray bottle. I already have like a mixture of 50% water, 50% glycerin, and I'm gonna go ahead and start spraying away, making sure all my cracks are covered. Go ahead and start spraying everything. Okay, let's get a shot of that. Okay, so let's try to drench some of these strawberries. I'm just getting like little beads, and I want more. Let's try that out. Okay, it definitely looks wet. Let me just spray it some more. Get closer, because I need bigger droplets. There we go. I needed some of the water to just kind of connect together. There we go. Okay. I think we got what we're looking for. It's a little bright, so let me bump down my ISO just a bit. I'm at 400, so let me go down to, let's see what it looks like at 250. It's a little dark. Oh, it's bright right in here because of the acetate. So I may just have to move my light. I may just have to raise it a little bit just to kind of get it away from the backdrop. But at the end of the day, I could probably just fix it later in post, like make that section not as much of a hot spot, you know? So let's see. Yeah, bump down the brightness just a bit. Yeah. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna test this out. Let's see if I can add a few more just regular droplets. Just to make them a little bit bigger. Because this particular bottle that I have, it's perfect for bottles. I would say if I'm spraying like a water bottle or a soda can, to give me those like tiny beads of water, just to get, you know, that look and feel of just like quick condensation of an ice cold beverage. But with this, I kind of want it to look like, I don't know, like maybe raindrops have hit everything. So I'm just kind of going in real sloppy and like flicking the water everywhere just to kind of get some big drops on the surfaces, just to make it a little bit imperfect, you know. Okay, I think that should do it. Let's see what that's looking like. Yeah, the big drops definitely add something to the surfaces. So I'm gonna add more to the pink. Just to get out of that uniformity of like the tiny little beads. But other than that, I think everything else looks really good. You got some nice uniformity with the beads of water, and everything looks juicy. So I think we're good to go. Let me just add a few more down here by the stem. Let's take a few more shots, and then we can move on to the next setup. And that one is more fun because it's going to be more water. So let's see. Yeah, that's a lot better. I like the water. Okay, cool. On to the next.